Hello and welcome back to our podcast, Jesse and Cade, North Star Sports Media. We're going to be reviewing the Twins Royals baseball series that just took place. 4-game series. Twins lost 3 of 4, dropping to 4-9 on the season. Basically, between bad base running, missed runner and scoring position chances, and Bobby Witt kind of being everything for the Royals, added up to the Twins being 4-9. Cade, what's the vibe of the team right now?
I would say that plane ride home or bus ride home was probably pretty silent. The last video we talked about that we needed big pitching performances from Pablo and Joe Ryan, and we got them, and was 1-1. And then Bailey Ober pitched it. I would say the gem, and we let it down, and we didn't give him any support behind him, and blew it.
One other thing too, and we were talking about this before we started, was the fielding of this team and the overall fundamentals of this team. I feel like they need to find a time machine, hop in it, and go back to the beginning of February and go over all these fundamentals once again. And we said this last episode. This team doesn't seem ready. They're still not ready. They're 13 games into the season and they're not ready. I'm not going to sit here and say that the talent lacks because I feel like there are some really good players on this team. Overall, the fundamentals are poor. They just are.
Yeah, it doesn't seem. I mean, it's baseball, so it can take a little bit, especially with some new players. But it doesn't seem like a complete team effort. It seems like every game we have one guy who kind of leads it, whether it's Ty France or Harrison Bader as of late. Um, then we'll have another guy randomly get a good hit, and then he's stranded. We don't do anything with it.
That's a great point about Ty France because I feel like you got your production from Ty France for the whole month, these last 4 games. Don't expect Ty France to continue hitting on a tear throughout the rest of this month unless he goes back to Kansas City because it's definitely proven that he's the equivalent of Frank Thomas in the Metrodome against the Twins when he plays the Royals.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go game by game here. Game one, Simeon Wood Richardson. I think he gave a great number 5 starter appearance. 5 and 2/3 innings, 8 hits, 4 earned, 6 strikeouts, 4 walks. One of those walks were questionable because he stepped off and stepped back on. Rocco got ejected. Um, Overall, I've said this before. I really like SWR. I feel like he could end up being a solid number 4 in this rotation. I put him ahead of Paddock already at this point. We'll get to filling the hole of Pablo here shortly, but what's your take on SWR?
I mean, he pitched 107 or pitches. I, I mean, as a number five guy coming in when you need someone to at least eat innings because your bullpen's tired and weary, that's a great performance. You gave up 4 runs, but you kept us in it. I mean, giving up 4 runs as a starter is just fine. It's not fine, but it's doable. You should be able to manage behind that.
Mhm.
Um, Again, I would still like to see the strikes, the percentage go up. I mean, 107 pitches, 64 strikes. That's okay. I think if he brings that up, he probably could have got through the sixth inning.
Yeah,
But again, that's all right. Again, number five starter, you're not really expecting him to go out there and throw 80% strikes and 10 strikeouts and 1 walk. But if you could get that to even 5 or 6 strikeouts and 2 walks or 1 walk, I think there's just a little bit different dynamic about it. But yeah, great performance.
overall, we'll talk about the cumulative runners in scoring position deficit that the Twins face, but for that game, they were 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. They lost by 2 runs. Something to think about. One thing that is a bright side to this game, and maybe I'm saying this backhandedly, is nobody was thrown out on the base pass or picked off for that game. So
And no errors.
no errors. Yeah, they were fundamentally sound, except they
Yeah.
can't hit. Okay, game two. Pablo exited the game in the 5th inning, tight right hamstring. I think I heard them say on the broadcast David Festa's name today.
Yep.
Am I correct?
He's coming up to pitch tomorrow.
Great.
They're skipping one day for Paddock, moving Festa in, and then he'll go on the 15-day IL.
Sweet. I love me some David Festa. I know he had a rough spring, but I mean, I felt like before the season started that, why is Chris Paddock here? And I get the whole depth thing, and Paddock can probably throw 120 innings this season before his arm falls off. However, in those innings, they're valuable to eat them up. But man, you got Festa, you got Zebby Matthews, you got Andrew Morris. You have like this logjam of potential talent. See what this team has to offer. What we've seen so far in this season is there's no reason to be pitching veterans for any kind of stability. And I know that we're still early into the year. We're, about 10% into the season, but it's something to watch going forward. If I see Chris Paddock pitching in August and this team is 20 games below 500, I'm going to point it out. In game two, Cole Reagans did what Cole Reagans does. Six
Yeah.
innings, 4 hits, 1 earned, 11 strikeouts. One of my favorite lefties. I would just wish that the Twins would acquire a lefty someday or draft one. And then again, the Twins were 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Your thoughts?
Yep. It really stinks because, again, we were talking about needing our ace to come in and throw a gem, get us back in the win column, and he did. He did take he got hurt, which stinks. Gave up 1 run, which if Mickey Gasper can just field a 2-hopper to second base, then he's one, probably still in the game, and two, he gave up 0 runs. I mean, he gave up 0 earned runs, but he had 0 runs at all. So that is tough to see us blow. I mean, a beautiful performance. I mean, him and Reagans were going back and forth, which was, I was watching the game the whole time, and it was great to see. So it does kind of suck to lose it like that. But again, even if Reagans is good, we only scored 1 run again. And again, you mentioned it, we had other chances to actually manufacture some runs, and it was tough to watch at some points. I will also do a little side note on that. Home plate umpire, Nick Marley. I don't know if you watched the game. Terrible strike zone. It was atrocious to watch.
I think Morneau made an Angel Hernandez reference.
It was getting to the point of everything high in the zone was a strike, even by a whole ball out, and then randomly he'd sprinkle in a little left corner, and you're like, okay, yeah. Inconsistent and high, cool. But yeah, again, it was tough to watch. I mean, it was just a slow progressing game, which I guess if you're playing the other team's ace, it could happen. But then he didn't pitch all 9 innings, and we did nothing against their relievers.
Yes, I agree. And we are on a record break watch. Carlos Correa did ground into another double play in game 2. So we'll keep that tally going. It's looking good so far. I think he has grounded into more double plays so far this season than he did total last season. I heard that stats on it was either X or during a broadcast. So all the more reason just to put him in the leadoff spot, so then there's no more double play potential items, because they don't steal bases anyway. So
no.
What's the point? Put him in the leadoff spot so then he's not grounding into double plays. It's like Joe Mauer reincarnated 2012 or 11. Okay, game 3. My guy, Joe Ryan, throws 7 innings, only gives up 2 hits, no earned, 4 strikeouts. He had that changeup down and away working. Overall, the Twins did win that game 4-0. Twins committed 0 errors. Twins were 3 for 7 with runners in scoring position. And Trevor Larnach was thrown out at third base in the 4th inning on a hit. So even though there was some fundamentals lacking as far as base running goes, the team did still take it thanks to the true ace of this team shouldering the load. Your thoughts?
Well, like I said, Joe Ryan will, just like Jose Barrios, pitch gems here and then. No, his changeup was working, and I said you can pitch fastballs like he does, but you need something else to complement that. Yeah. And again, that's exactly what happened. It's like Cole Reagans the game before, threw like the percentage wise, he threw like 65% strike or fastballs to lefties, but the other percentage was changeups, and it was his strikeout pitch. And so if you can continue that all season, I am gonna love it because that I mean, if Pablo is only out for 15 games, we'll see. If it's longer, then yeah, Joe Ryan has to step in and shoulder that load, which especially with David Festa and Simeon Wood Richardson, we're gonna need at least two guys in our like rotation to actually eat innings and give us a lot of chances. Um, and it was good to see again, complete team. I mean, it went how it's like it's good to go. Joe Ryan, Griffin Jacks, and then Duran.
Question for you. Through 13 games, was this the most complete game the Twins have played this season?
Oh yeah,
Seemed that way, didn't it? It looked
I
good.
mean, just like I said, the offense there wasn't really an explosion.
No.
One run. There's only one run scored for all the innings that we actually did, but it
Yeah.
seemed like we had at least had guys on base, no errors, and defense was solid behind Joe Ryan's best pitching performance to date.
Yep. Game 4. Royals lose 3-2 earlier this afternoon. Bailey Ober exercised his demons in Kansas City in the month of April. 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned, 4 strikeouts. Bailey Ober looked like Bailey Ober. Again, team is 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Edward Julian is thrown out at home after I think it was a triple. Did they rule it a triple? I didn't see.
At
Um,
the time, it was ruled a double with an error on the center fielder.
okay, okay, that seems right to me. Anyway, the idea of infield's playing in, we're just going to contact and run kind of play, which it's bang bang. To have the instincts to make the right decision is another level, and that's why these guys are in the major leagues. However, if that's the point of the play, just run a squeeze. Julian doesn't run well. We said at the top before the show started, the average sprint speed of this team is 25 feet per second, which is 28th in the league. There's no reason to run that kind of play with 1 out.
Yeah.
And if you are going to run that kind of play with 1 out, have a little bit bigger lead because the third baseman's clearly off of third base, and you got time to make a decision. Maybe it's a split second, but it is longer than making a decision whether to swing or not at a fastball. So I expect Julian to make the right decision. Um, do you believe that these coaching mistakes or that these mistakes are coaching related, or do you think it's just a mental lapse in a key moment?
No, that's gonna be coaching really like decisions. The contact play was on, so which means that Julian doesn't have a, I mean, doesn't have to make a decision. Anything off the bat, you're going. Now, it does stink that he did get thrown out at home, but I kind of get it. We're slow on manufacturing runs. You're just hoping that it's not hit that hard at third base or right at someone, which India made a good play. Um, I don't really personally like that play a whole lot. The contact play. You just scored 4 runs the game before. Your offense started to look like it's kind of coming in its own. But I guess that's also the same point. I mean, managers have to make those decisions.
Mhm.
But I just hate seeing it. And you know what? Honestly, if you're going to run it, I don't know if you want to put in Kiersey and let him DH. I don't know if we're just never going to let the guy ever have a chance. But Julian's not fast.
No.
So I don't know if that's the strategy behind it. Don't give him the chance to think about it. Try to give him every advantage to just go and maybe like steal a run, basically. But I just I don't like it with any of our. I mean, we don't have any speed guys, but I don't like it with 90% of our lineup.
The athleticism of these teams dating back to 2000 and gosh, I want to say 18, the whole Rocco tenure is a concern. Um, Even watching Julian sprint to third base on that double plus error, when I was watching him run, I was thinking, man, I didn't realize he was that slow, and he is. And it's not like he's a big bulky guy either. Do teams prioritize speed in the off season? I know there's a lot to worry about whether it's fielding and hitting, but are these guys on those treadmills to push a little bit further? Not just a basic treadmill, but I mean one of those treadmills that they put you in a harness and they make you run at 23 miles an hour for 7 seconds just to increase, you know, the overall top speed that you can hit. Um, what's your opinion on that?
I guess I'm not in the coaching or in the off-season training room with them.
Neither am I.
Um, so it is tough to say what we're actually working on. Um, one thing I'll say too, I mean, even with training everything, our team isn't faster than they were last year. It doesn't seem like any of our pitchers gain velocity. So I don't know if we all went in on just batting and trying to get barrel percentage up, but it just seems like we didn't work on there's anything athletic measures that you can actually say, yep, this is what the Twins did in the offseason and gained. Um,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I mean, our barrel percentage is great.
Right.
So that's, I mean, at least good to know.
The new hitting coach,
But
maybe.
but it is a new hitting coach. We did fire that instead of Rocco. We fired our hitting coach last year because that made sense. Um, but we're seventh in the league for average exit velocity. So
Okay.
if we can turn those, I guess if we can turn those more into runs instead of hard hit balls right at people, maybe one day it'll come around. And I do know that that stat did get brought up. We had like something crazy where like we had like 10 hits over 100 miles an hour, or not 10 hits, but 10 plate appearances that a ball
Yeah.
was hit 110,
Swings. Yeah.
and we were all when it was out. So
Yeah.
you would expect over baseball usually evens out. So hopefully, if they can turn those hits into actual base hits or run scoring, then maybe it'll turn around. But yeah, athleticism wise, we're terrible.
Sad to
Yeah.
watch. Okay. Series stats and trends. Starting pitching and the bullpen combined this series gave up 7 earned runs and they lost 3 of 4 games. 2 of the runs were unearned. Um, the starting staff had 23 innings pitched. The bullpen had 12. Uh, Overall, Twins runners in scoring position. Here we go. 5 for 30, a 167 batting average. The Royals, 7 for 28, a 250 batting average. And then I'm going to point out the base running errors. Larnach got thrown out running to third on a Julian single. Christian Vasquez inexcusably gets picked off at second base. I don't understand. Julian getting thrown out at home. Those are 3 more guys right there that would have been in scoring position. 3 more opportunities. You lost by 1 run in game 4. You lost by 2 runs in game 1, and you lost by 1 run in game 2. Fundamentals, we've talked about it. Overall, the team committed 5 errors this weekend over a span of 4 games. Again, fundamentals. This isn't the Minnesota Twins that I grew up watching whatsoever, with Torrey Hunter in center field. And as far as like the infield goes, the Twins, they never had a solidified shortstop throughout the 2010s and the 2000s, but they always played solid defense on the infield. And having Mickey Gasper play second base 13 games into the season, in my opinion, shows that the team maybe lacked preparation for infield play, knowing that Brooks Lee has chronic back issues now and Royce Lewis is susceptible at any time to slip on another patch of ice in Texas and tear his ACL. There's no preparation. Mickey Gasper playing second base can't happen 13 games into the season. Mickey Gasper cannot be the backup plan to Brooks Lee. How about you? What do you think?
I agree. I don't understand. If you want to get a young guy a chance, okay. I I guess I would rather just have him DH over Julian and put someone else. I mean, anyone else there. Willie Castro can go there. Miranda can play third. I mean, we have 3 players on our roster right now that can play it, but I guess only 2 I would rather put out there. But I mean, I just don't understand. I don't understand using him and then not Sean Kiersey. I just
Yeah,
kind of, are we never going to let the guy hit? He hit 300 in the minors and 285 in spring training. He actually looked opening day ready.
and he's athletic, as we talked
And
about.
he and he's probably our fastest guy on our team.
Over Buxton at this point.
I mean, just with sprint speed top end, Buxton might beat him, but overall reaction and quickness,
Yeah,
Kiersey's he went
twitchy.
first to third. He went first to third the other day, and it was for the first time in a while, besides Buxton, it was like, okay, we actually have someone who pitchers have to worry about and defenses have to be ready.
Yep. Going into the series against the Detroit Tigers this weekend, what's your prediction?
Well, before the injury, well, with everything, it's still going to be a little tough to watch. If Festa can come in and just give us 5 solid innings, that's gonna be a great outing for him. Um, Other than that, I mean, we have David Festa, Chris Paddock, and then Simeon Wood Richardson. So we have our bottom 3 arms, which it's going to be interesting to see how they can kind of jump back from. On the other side, we do face some of Detroit's bottom half of their order as well.
Yeah, we
Their
avoid
first,
Skubal.
yep.
Yep.
So first 2 games, 2 guys who have inflated ERAs, younger guys, not too worried about it. Third game, we do face Casey Mize, who's like 2-0 with a .77 with 12 Ks. Oh, he will be giving us some problems, especially his sinker that he throws is unworldly when it's on.
Yes.
So this is gonna be another series that if we can squeak, we always seem to have one game every series that's like a pretty good showing. I mean, the White Sox we won 6-1, Houston won 6-1, Kansas City won 4-0. If we can throw one of those games in, that'd be great, and then squeak out another tough. I don't know who's going to give us the pitching performance, but out of those 3, hopefully one give us at least a chance to stay into it. I still think we can win 2 out of 3, but the offense and I mean, both offense and defense needs to step up. Our pitching is not the issue right now. Our offense is not there.
I know that you're saying that the Twins are playing their bottom 3 pitchers, but I'm really excited to watch Jackson Jobe pitch as well as Reese Olson.
Yeah,
They're both flamethrowers,
yeah.
fun young gun pitchers, and also what an idea! What a absolutely wonderful idea. You have your young guys pitching. You don't have
Yeah.
these bridge veterans that have never pitched better than a 4.5 ERA.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting concept, and I'd
No,
like
yeah.
to see the Twins take that on.
And with with that, they're really good. They do get into command issues.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do if we can maybe get a walk. I won't bank on stealing a base, but moving a guy over, maybe bunting him.
Yeah.
We might have to manufacture some runs against these guys.
Right.
Especially with an inexperienced or younger pitcher, like you said. It'd be kind of cool to see how we actually play that. And then Casey Mize, you're just going to have to get up there and do your best. But yeah, it should be a good series. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish we would have brought up. I know that you're a big David or Festa guy. I'm Zebby Matthews.
Yeah. I like Zebby too.
The other day when he started, I mean, he looked great. So it was kind of cool.
I would say something to watch if this team continues to falter is watch for Joe Ryan's name to come up in some trade rumors. 29 years old. This is kind of the time. This is like and I don't think he's on his last year of team control, but this is kind of the equivalent of the Jack Flaherty deal last year. And as you said, Zebby, not David Matthews, David Festa. Um, there's reason for the Twins to kind of sell on some of these older veterans. You know, maybe you can trade Paddock for a bag of baseballs or something that you can throw into batting practice. But overall, it like you said, it's going to be exciting seeing young pitchers, even though maybe they struggle with command, to see how the Twins navigate that, and if they can get on base, clean up the base running. That's going to be the focus for this series for this team is clean up the fundamentals, clean up the fielding, and clean up the base running. Their margin for error right now is so small because the offense can't hit. It's going to be even more imperative to bring your A game in the field and your fundamentals.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is still our series to win, but we just need to actually have a team outing for a whole series.
Yeah. Final thoughts.
Um, well, they charge you $100 a year to watch the Twins every single game, and if they keep playing like this, it is going to be hard to watch for 100 for $100 a year.
Want my money back.
Yeah. No. You know, it's obviously early. It's easy just to really get down on it, but baseball can switch, and it just takes a good series.
Yep.
If we can, out of the next couple weeks till Pablo comes back, and we can play above 500 baseball and get our offense back, and then throw in, one of our top two pitchers back in, it could really see this team's energy and confidence turn around. And with baseball, that's 90% of it.
Yeah.
Once these big league players get some confidence and the bats start hitting, I mean, it can turn around quick, but it needs to just show more promise, and these guys need to look ready.
I'm going to tell you that I think that the Twins take 2 or 3 this weekend. I'm very low on this team. And I just think it's time for them to put up or shut up. And this is the perfect opportunity to do so. As you said, 2 of the 3 pitchers they're playing are not the best pitchers from the Tigers. You have an opportunity for David Festa to pitch, which will be the first time this season. And I believe that with there's still limited film on him. There's an opportunity to catch some guys off guard on the Tiger side. And I think Simeon Woods Richardson is going to continue to give us those consistent 5 or 6 inning starts with 2 to 4 earned runs. And I think the offense is going to come alive this weekend. Is Brooks Lee coming back this weekend? Did you hear that?
I didn't read anything. I know he's still in his rehab in single A.
Give me 2 or 3 if Brooks Lee comes back. Give me 1 of 3 if Brooks Lee stays down.
I
The
mean, it could happen.
the infield fielding is so important, and it showed in this series. It showed in the Cardinal series when Castro couldn't even get to a ball at second. They need Brooks Lee at second base
Yeah,
so badly. So, well, if you have no other final thoughts, I can give us the plug and we can unplug. What do you think?
good to me. Said
Okay.
everything on my mind.
Thank you for tuning in to North Star Sports Media. Follow us on Facebook. Give us a comment. Comment your favorite or least favorite part of this last series and give us your prediction of the next series. Cade and I will be shooting again on Sunday or Monday of next week to follow up on the Detroit Tigers series. And hopefully we'll be talking about a team that at that point has 6 wins or 7 instead of 4 or 5. Thank you again. We'll see you next time.